kids, Shubhamangalam Athletical Scholar, myself Sukdeep. I'll be taking up class 9 for today. I'll be taking up physics for you, and we are in chapter number 2. The name of the chapter is motion. Okay, so what do you mean by this terminology over here? It means movement. We're talking about movement or change in position of an object or a person, okay, or a thing. Okay, fine. So now we have few questions to answer over here. Before that, have you seen uh, vehicles moving? Have you seen people moving around you? Or have you ever experienced that the earth also moves? Okay, it has two movements called as the rotation and revolution. The movement around its own axis is called as rotation, and the movement around the sun is called as revolution. So now we are going to learn about, how are we, what do you mean by motion and rest, and how are they related to each other, and what do you mean by the terminology relative? Like, how does it depend on the observer whether an object is moving or not? Okay, when an object is in motion, when you say the statement like the object is in motion, this means the object is moving and exchanging its position from A to B or so on. When you say that the object is at rest, this means the object is not moving. The displacement of the object is zero. What do you mean by displacement? Change in position. Okay, the shortest distance traveled by the object is happening to be zero because it is said to be at rest. Now, what do you mean by relative? The word relative here means with respect to. Okay, with respect to me, I am at rest right now. But with respect to you, I might be moving. If you're moving your camera, okay, if you're moving your phone from one end to the other end, your phone is in motion, you will feel that even I am moving because I am being appeared on the phone. Do you get my point? So for example, when you watch the moon and you're traveling in the car during the night with your parents, if you're watching the moon, you feel that the moon is moving along with your car. Is it moving only along with your car? Everybody else, every other kid who is there in some other car or on another vehicle, they are going to feel that the moon is moving along with them. Is it so? Is it really going to happen like that? So we need to understand all this. So you are the observer over here, and with respect to you, relative to the observer, we need to understand whether the objects around us are in motion or at rest. Okay, for example, it is not just you in the room. There are many other people in the room, so all of them are observers. Of course, all of them are going to have a different perception about things moving and not moving, whether they are moving with respect to them or whether they are moving with respect to us. Okay, so basically you have seen movement of birds, movement of animals, movement of people, rolling of dice, like the dice moves from one place to the other, moving of automobiles. Then also you have studied about rotation and revolution, which is nothing but the movement of the earth. Further, let's try to understand the concept into a deeper detail. So we have the first point over here, the first question that they have asked us. If earth is in motion, what is the two movements of the earth? It is the rotation and revolution. Okay, if the earth is in motion, we all know that the earth is moving. Yes or no? You have to agree to this point because we have studied this too many times. Only if there is rotation and revolution, there is change in the day, change in the days and nights happening. Days and nights occur because of rotation. Seasonal changes happen due to revolution. So we have a valid proof for that. If the earth is in motion, why don't we directly perceive the motion of the earth? Okay, when you are standing in your room, why are you not feeling that the earth is moving? That is what they are asking us. What is the force that is attracting you towards the earth? Gravitational force. There is a certain kind of force which is attracting you towards the earth and is not allowing you to move, and not not allowing you to fall or float up in the air. Do you understand? The earth's gravity is one reason that you are still on the earth and you're not floating in the air. Also, the earth's motion is in such a way, it is designed like that, that you have to understand that you are not going to fall if the earth also rotates or undergoes revolution. Do you get my point? So here we move on to the next one. So you need to try to understand that the earth is moving in a constant speed. It is moving with a constant motion. If the speed of the earth was going to increase or decrease gradually, you were going to feel the spinning of the earth. But you don't feel it right now because it is accelerating in a constant speed, in a constant motion. Also, if you are, like, it is like, the earth is the automobile and you are the passenger inside it. Do you understand? You are at rest inside the car. Do you understand? The automobile, if you are inside the car, you are at rest with respect to the driver as well as other people, but the automobile is actually moving. Do you get my point? Similarly, the earth is like, carrying you like a passenger, and it is steadily moving like along around 1000 miles per hour roughly. So it is moving in a steady motion. Also the gravity is one reason. Also, like, it is the constant speed and the motion of the earth which is not going to let you understand whether the earth is spinning or not. Okay, so this is one point. So are the walls of your classroom at rest or in motion? Are the walls of your house at rest or in motion? Are they moving? No, right? Is the building moving? No, they are at rest. So have you ever experienced sitting in a train? While you are sitting in one train which is on one track, if there is a train on the other track and if that train is moving, you feel that your train is also moving in this end. If the other train goes in this direction, you feel that your train is moving in this direction, but actually it is not happening like that. You are at rest and your train is also at rest. It is the nearby train which was actually moving. This is one of the experiences. So not only that, when you're on the train and when your train is moving, you feel like the hills and the trees are also moving along, or they are moving backwards while you are going forwards. It happens like that. This is why we are using the terminology called as relative, because it is with respect to the observer how you're going to feel it. The same analogy can be also be used for the earth moving. The earth is moving around its axis as well as revolving around the sun. There are two movements happen continuously. It's been so many years. Why is that? So nobody has fell from the earth. Of course there is a certain amount of force which is going to attract you. Also that the earth is moving in a constant speed and constant motion. You are, it is never going to increase or decrease your speed as you are increasing and decreasing the speed of your car. Okay, it is an automobile. Definitely you can compare the example, but you can increase and decrease the speed of your automobile. You cannot do that with your earth. With the earth, of course, the earth is never going to increase or decrease the speed. It is always going to move in a constant speed. Okay, it is always going to spin in a constant speed. So it is spinning steadily. Do you understand? It is spinning steadily and you are also moving. That steady movement is not letting you, understand or letting you perceive that the earth is also spinning. Do you understand? If it had accelerated the speed, you would be feeling whether the earth is spinning or not. Okay, only if the earth is spinning, that days and nights are happening. Half of the earth is in daylight while the other half is in dark. This means there is night over there. If there is daytime in New York right now, we will have the night time. If it is daytime in India, it will be night time somewhere in Canada or New York over there. So the half of the earth receives the daylight, the half of the earth doesn't receive. This is all happening because of the movement. So once because of the movement and the other part comes in the daylight, definitely the next half, the first half is going to be in night time. It's only because of the movement of the earth this is all happening. So this theory that the earth is moving is completely proved, that the earth moves. It is having two movements. But why are you not feeling that movement or feeling the spinning of the earth? Is because the earth is moving at a steady speed. Only if the earth was moving at an increasing or decreasing, accelerating or decelerating, then you would have understood, okay, the earth is spinning by now. But that's not going to happen ever. Okay, that is how nature is designed. Okay, the earth is always going to move in a steady motion and a steady and constant speed. You're never going to feel it that the earth is spinning unless and until you become an astronaut and go into space and watch the earth spinning. Do you understand? It is only then that you're going to understand that, okay, the earth was actually moving and spinning. Of course, you have learnt about it. So now we have certain terminologies like relative, motion and rest, which we have discussed. Motion means when the object is moving. Rest means when the object is not moving. There is no velocity. The velocity of an object at rest is going to be zero. Relative is with respect to the observer, pertaining to the observer, depending upon the perception of the observer. These are all meanings of relative. So now, does every statement have a meaning? You think everything that we see around ourselves or we write down, is it going to have a meaning? Like any group of words put together, is it going to have a meaning? Of course not. It needs to be a sensible statement. It needs to make sense. When I say that every action is going to have its equal and opposite reaction, there is sense in that. Okay, if I say that every action, no or not, does it is also a group of words. But did it make sense? No, it doesn't make sense. Okay, let's move further with the lesson. So let's try to understand motion with respect to different directions over here. So basically, if this is a tree and there is a person, there are two people which are moving past each other. There is person number A and there is person number B. Okay, person B is going in this direction whereas person A is coming from that direction. So the tree is present on the left side of person B, but the tree is also present on the right side of person A. Do you understand? So whom does it depend upon? It depends upon the observers over here. Who are the observers? It is person A and person B. So person A is going to tell person B that the tree is on my right side. But person B is going to tell person A that the tree is on my left side. Both of them are true, but they are using the opposite words. Do you understand? Person B says left, person A says right. Both of them are true, but they are using opposite words. So whom does it depend upon? What is the position of the tree over here? It depends upon the observer. And who are the observers over here? It is person A and person B. That was about right and left over here. So day or night. I told you about rotation revolution. Yes or no? Because of rotation, the days and nights are going to happen. If there is daytime in India, it is going to be nighttime in New York and vice versa. Because half part of the earth is going to receive the daylight at a time, whereas the other half is going to remain in darkness, or they are going to experience night time. Do you understand? Like that, because of the movement of the earth. That is what we need to know about days or nights, up and down. For example, if the person A is standing over here, B over here, C over here, D over here. Okay. So now for person A, he is at an upward position. Yes or no? He is at up position, whereas the rest of them are down. Okay. Person A is up. Person D might be at right bottom. Person A must be at left bottom, whereas B is completely in the bottom. Yes or no? He himself perceives that he is in the upward position. Do you understand? Person A is perceiving for himself that he is in the upward position, whereas the rest of them are in the bottom position. He is perceiving that the person at the bottommost point is person B. Yes or no? But for person B, he himself is in the upward position and the rest of them are in the downward position. Similarly, for person C and person D, they are going to perceive that they are at the upward position and the rest of them are at the downward position. Yes or no? Like that. So up and down positions are also opposite, but all of their statements are making sense. A says that he is in the upward position and the rest of them are down. B says that he is in the upward position and rest of them are down. Both of the statements are true, but they are opposite to each other. Do you understand? So why is this happening? Because we have different people over here. We have different observers and they are observing it in a different way. So now, next we have motion is relative. So you need to open up your textbook to page number 13 over here. Okay, I'll mention the page number 13. And we have a dialogue over here between two men, Shrinu and Sumesh. And they have different perceptions about things. Let's discuss them together. Page number 13 class. To understand the idea of motion, let us take the following hypothetical activity. A hypothetical is a certain hypothesis that has been jotted down, a certain protocol, following a certain protocol. Hypothesis is basically an idea or a guesswork. So observe the figure 3 and follow the conversation between Shrinu and Somesh, who stand beside a row as shown in figure number 3. So these are the two men who are standing, okay, beside the road, and there is a car moving as well as there is a tree. Is the tree also moving, class? No, the tree is at rest. Why would the tree move? Along with the roots? So now there is figure number 3, which says you motion in view of Shrinu and Somesh. Let's start the dialogue. Shrinu says, what is the state of the motion of the tree? What do you think? It is at rest, of course. Somesh is quite intelligent enough. He is telling it is at rest. That's good. We agree with his answer. Shrinu, what is the state of the motion of the car? The car is moving in a certain direction. Yes or no? So let's see what Somesh answers. Somesh is telling it is moving due east. Okay. Shrinu, what is the state of the motion of the driver and passenger in the car? Okay, in the car. Now, Somesh says that the car is moving in the eastward direction. And Shrinu is asking him, what about the driver and the passenger inside the car? Somesh is telling that they are also moving with the car. Okay, But think if you were the driver. Okay, what do you think? Is the passenger moving? No, he's at rest. Do you understand how perception changes now? Okay, let's move forward. Somesh says it is moving due east. Shrinu is asking, what is the state of the motion of the driver and passenger in the car? Somesh, they are also moving like the car. What he is observing from outside. He can see the car moving. Inside the car there are two people, so he's perceiving that the people are also moving. But what about the people who are sitting inside? Are they perceiving that the driver or the passenger, is the passenger perceiving that the driver is moving? Then who's going to drive the car then? Is the driver perceiving that the passenger is moving? No, right? So let's see this. Shrinu, how do you decide that the car, the passenger, and the driver are moving? Somesh, with respect to us. Okay, instead of respect to us, we can also write relative. Fine. With respect to us, the position of the car, the passenger, and the driver are changing with time. So they are in motion. Do you understand? If the car is said to be moving in the eastward direction, this means at a certain point of time it was here and it slowly started moving to a certain direction. Inside the car, who do we have? We have the driver and the passenger. If the car changed its position, definitely the passenger and the driver inside the car also change their position. Yes or no? It is not like that only the car is moving and the passenger and the driver are left behind. No, right? They are sitting in the car and they are also being moving. That is why Somesh explains that they are also in motion along with the car. So now turn to page number 14 over here, the continuation of the dialogue. Okay? So now follow the conversation of the driver and passenger in the car. The driver says, what is the state of the motion of the tree? The driver is asking the passenger, maybe they were getting bored, so they started a certain dialogue. Like, what is the state of the motion of the tree? The passenger says it is moving due west. Do you understand? If you were sitting in the car and you were observing the tree outside the window of the car, you would be feeling that the tree is going in the backward direction. It is nothing but the westward direction. Because if the car is moving in east, the opposite of east is going to be west. Similarly, the passenger says that the tree is moving westwards. Instead of telling that we are the ones who are moving in the car, he is telling that the tree is moving westwards. That is all perception. It all changes. Okay, what do you mean by perception? What you feel, what is happening around you. Your idea, your opinion of something. So, driver, what is the state of motions both the persons beside the road? Shrinu and Somesh were talking behind, yes or no? And the car was moving eastwards. The driver is asking the passenger, what about the two people who are standing beside the road? The passenger says they are also moving westwards, like the tree. Do you understand? That is all his perception. The driver is asking, what is the state of motion of both the persons beside the road? Passenger says they are also moving due west. They are also moving along with the tree in the westward direction. But is it actually happening like that? So driver, it is not actually happening like that. Driver, what is the state of my motion? What is my state of motion? The driver is asking the passenger. Okay, the passenger says you are at rest. Okay, because the driver is not moving in and out of the car as per the passenger. So that is why the passenger perceives that the driver is at rest with respect to him. So driver is asking what is my state of motion. Passenger says you are at rest. Driver, what is the state of the motion of the car? What answer may the passenger give to the driver? What is the state of the motion of the car? What do you think? Definitely they're moving from a certain point to another point, and if the driver is accelerating his speed, the passenger might be telling, okay, we are moving from a certain point to other point, so the car is in motion. But if they are moving in a steady motion, unless and until he looks outside and sees things moving, in the opposite direction, the passenger is going to perceive that they are at rest. Do you understand? Unless and until the driver accelerates. Okay, so now from the above discussion, it is clear that the tree is at rest with respect to Somesh and it is moving due west with respect to the passenger. Somesh says that the tree is at rest, but the passenger says that the tree is moving in the westward direction. Okay, now what do you think? Is the tree at rest? Yes. But if you were the passenger, you would be telling that the tree is moving. So these are two different perceptions. Both of them are correct, but they are opposite to each other. So now, let's read this. The motion or rest of an object depends on the observer. That is what I'm trying to tell you since the beginning of the lesson, that it all depends on the perception of the observer, whether the object is in motion or not, or whether the object is moving or is at rest. So motion is a combined property of the observer and the body which is being observed. Now we are able to define motion of an object. A body is said to be in motion when its position is changing continuously with time relative to an observer. Any object can be taken as a point of observation. So now class, when the driver asks the passenger whether the car is moving or not, if the passenger is going to apply his logic, definitely the car is moving. That is why they are changing the position from one point to the other point. But if he is sitting steadily in the car and not bothered about whatever is happening in his surroundings, then he might be perceiving that the car is not in motion. Do you understand? So this is what happens. The car actually moved. You and I know that. But the passenger inside the car, like we on the earth is continuously spinning. Are we able to understand that the earth is spinning? Okay. Only if the earth accelerated the speed, we would have understood. Similarly, if the driver accelerated the speed, maybe the passenger understands then, okay, the car was in motion, like that. But if he uses his logic, of course, the car changed its position from one point to the other point. So he should actually perceive that the car is moving. But instead, what did he tell? That the tree is moving in the westward direction and the people and Srinu and Somesh are moving in the westward direction. Did Srinu, Somesh and the tree move from their position? No. So what does the passenger perceive? The passenger inside the car perceives that the car was at rest and it is these three things which are moving. Two people and one object. What is the object over there? The tree. Two people and one tree are moving instead of the car moving. What is the passenger perceiving? That we are at rest. Okay, and it is the rest of the things outside the car which are moving in the opposite direction instead of perceiving that they are moving in the eastward direction. So whom does it depend upon whether the object is at motion or not? It depends upon the observer. Fine. So now you are going to study about two different quantities called as distance and displacement. Distance is nothing but the length covered by a certain object when it is changing its position from one end to the other end. Okay, irrespective of the direction. Fine. Now displacement definitely is with respect to direction. Okay, distance is only dealing with the magnitude or how much length or how much position you have covered. But displacement here deals with both distance, both magnitude and direction. How much distance you have covered plus in which direction did you enter? East, south, north, northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest, south, like that. Okay, so there are two physical quantities that you need to understand over here. It is distance and displacement. Distance is called as a scalar quantity. Displacement is called as a vector quantity. Now, why is distance called as scalar? Because it only has magnitude. What do you mean by magnitude? How much you have traveled, how much distance you have traveled. That number is nothing but the magnitude. Okay, so now why is displacement said to be having both magnitude and direction? Because it is also telling you how much you have traveled, plus it is also telling you in which direction you have traveled. Okay, so you are going to denote a vector with an arrow mark. Fine. This end of the arrow is called as the tail and this end of the arrow is called as the head, thus signifying that it is moving in a certain direction. And there's a line over here signifying that they are moving in a certain length. So both magnitude and direction are participating, are a part of what? Displacement. So what were the two quantities that we need to study further after motion is relative? What is it? It is distance and displacement. Distance only deals with magnitude. Displacement deals with both magnitude and direction. Okay, so if you were throwing an object, in the air and it was going in a certain direction. You were throwing an object in this way, okay, like a bowler hitting a ball. You must be watching cricket these days. You must be seeing people, pace bowlers, how do they, throw a ball. If a bowler is going to bowl a ball, it is going to go in a certain direction. You cannot predict in which direction it might go. Or else you can definitely, depending on the length of the pace bowling or the length of the runner, how much he has, the seamers and all the spinners and all you can definitely predict. Like they are going to bowl a certain length of the ball where they actually want to hit the wicket. Okay, but once the cricketer hits the ball, can you predict in which part of the stadium does it go? No, right? That is why you must be observing whenever a cricketer is going to hit a 6 or a 4, the distance is measured, not displacement. It is written over there, distance covered 108 kilometer per hour, something like that, 58 kilometer per hour. That is the distance covered when the cricketer hit a 6 or a 4. Did you understand? Like that. Maximum usually happens during the sixes. If the guy is going to hit a 6 and it goes out of the stadium, then the distance being measured, it displays in the corner of the TV screen. Do they mention displacement over there? No, because they cannot predict in which direction is it going to go, where is it actually going to stop. So this is called as distance, where you cannot predict the direction, where you don't know the direction, but you know the magnitude. What do you mean by magnitude? You know how much the ball has traveled. What about displacement now? Displacement is something where you know what is the direction. Okay, if this is point A and this is point B and the ball went in this direction, fine, and reached point B, it is definitely a large distance. Instead of taking this path, if I just roll the ball on the ground and it reaches the point B, which do you think is going to be a shorter path, the first one or the second one? Case number 1 tells us that it is going to have a parabolic formation, and the A, at point A, I am going to throw the ball in this direction, and the ball is going to take a certain path and reach person B or point B. This means it has traveled a certain path. But I could not predict whether it is always going to take this parabolic path. It would be much bigger also, something like this. It could be depending upon my force, or if you are throwing, then your force. You cannot predict how much force you are going to apply to the ball and which path is it going to take. Of course, if I would have just rolled the ball to point B, then this is a very short path when compared to these two cases. Yes or no? So what do you understand by this? When I know the distance as well as the direction, when I know the magnitude, this means if the length of this line is about 5 meters, I know the magnitude as well as I know the direction. What is the direction over here? Straight line path. Yes or no? I know the magnitude, I know the direction. This means the straight line path is nothing but the shortest distance. The shortest distance covered by an object is called as displacement. What is it called? Displacement. I cannot consider this case or this case to be displacement because I could not predict the direction in which my ball is going to move. Okay, definitely it was going to reach point B at one or the other time, but taking what direction? Okay, that was unpredictable. But if I roll the ball on the floor towards point B, I know which direction am I rolling the ball. I am rolling it in a straight line direction. Okay, when I know the magnitude, when I know how much length my ball is going to cover, when I know how much, uh, 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 when I know how much length my ball is going to cover, when I know whom is it going to reach or which point is it going to reach, when I know which direction is it going to take, then that shortest distance undergone by that object to cover the distance is called as displacement. Okay, I repeat, displacement is nothing but the shortest distance covered by a body. In these three, okay, in these three cases, which do you think is the shortest distance covered by the body? The third one, the straight line path. Yes or no? This is a little more than the straight line, and this is a lot when compared to both the cases. It is really huge. For example, this might be like 6 meters. This might be like 8 meters. So which is the longest one? The upward one? Yes or no? Which has a really big path to reach point B. Maybe you applied a lot of force. Now, for the third case, I did not apply a lot of force. I just preferred rolling the ball. I didn't want to play with the point B. So I just rolled the ball and it reached point B. I covered 5 minutes to, reach point B. It was only 5 meters of length. It was very easy for me to just throw the ball in such a way. And it was the shortest distance being covered. Now, consider Google Maps. Okay, now if you have a straight way to reach the kirana shop and you have a longer way, you need to go into the other lane and the third lane and fourth lane and then reach the kirana shop by taking a turnover, and you have a straight path from your house. Which path are you going to take? The straight one. Yes or no? Of course, if there is no traffic over there. Okay, now that is the shortest distance. Google Map always tells you which is the shortest distance available, the shortest route available, where there is no heavy traffic or load. So basically it was following a certain system of distance and displacement. Do you understand? Like that. Let's move further. So class, I have this Sakshi written for you for this video. Okay, the physics Sakshi is classwork page number 11 to 14 done. I would definitely like you to read from page number 11 to 14 and go through word by word. Try to underline something that you find really important. Try to underline the words that you have come across when I have discussed them with you in the video. Of course, you might find some examples and you might not find some examples because some of them were out of the book. So don't panic if you don't find the cricketer and the ball example. Definitely try to understand the analogy over there. Try to understand why did I use the example. Try to understand what is distance and displacement. Try to understand the words which are motion, rest and relative. Read the dialogue between Srinu and Somesh so that you understand what we were discussing in the class. We will go on further in the next video. Thank you for now.